All right, good morning. It's May 31st, last day of May. We're here at USF, beautiful campus, surrounded by brilliant people, far smarter than I. And we're going to be talking about USF Connect, what they're doing here both on the campus but also in the region to make our community smarter, wired, connected to what's happening in the business world. We got some incredible business people sitting next to me, and as well, we've got individuals who are taking all the ideas that we're going to be talking about here and other ideas, patentable ideas, and then turning them into products. To my left is Dr. Paul Sanberg, who is the head of USF Connect. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm the Senior Vice President of Research and Innovation for
They always have long
USF,
titles.
Okay. But I am the head of that reports to me, and it's great stuff.
Okay,
Sorry.
So he's even bigger.
No, it's okay.
But Dr. Sanberg, would you kind of just tell us, where are we? This is a beautiful, beautiful building, but where are we, and what's happening here?
We are at USF, and we're in the Fowler side of USF, and we are on the Research Park. And so the land that this building's part of is part of our idea of setting up a world-class research park that will have companies, faculty that work and translate their research out. It is really a campus within a campus. This building we're in, actually we're in the middle of two buildings that is geared to bring faculty and company CEOs and other people together here at Cafe Connect to talk about how do they take their research, how do we help the community, how do we get products out on the market.
There are a lot of universities that are doing things like this. How is USF different? Are we different? And are we doing what you just discussed better than others?
Well, that's a great question, and we're glad you're here because in many ways we're the unsung story. And we are good. We are a top 50 university in research. The reason I said my title is because we're research and innovation. Okay, it's not just research, it's the innovation and taking that to the next step. And so we have changed the culture at this university. We view ourselves as an entrepreneurial university. 250 of our faculty and staff have US patents. So not only do they think about their research and publish or perish and all that, or teach, they think about their research and then they take it to that next level. And that's why Valerie's here as well, because she really is in charge of that technology transfer. And so they're patented. We just in the past 2 years, and maybe for the third year, we don't know yet, of the Intellectual Property Owners Association ranks universities on number of patents. It ranks all corporations. IBM's number one with most patents every year. We were in the top 10 of all universities worldwide for number of U.S. patents in the world. That includes Stanford, Duke, all these. So it's because our faculty have changed their culture. They look at what they're doing and look at how they can translate that. So we are unique, and that's why it's important. That's why we have these buildings, so that the faculty can be pushed, be incentivized to actually take it even a step further, start companies if they want, hire people in the community, create jobs, and that's really what it's about here.
Okay, that's an amazing accomplishment that we're in the top 10. Can you explain? I mean, I'd like to kind of dig down into that. How did USF find itself in that position to be in the top 10 when it comes to the number of patents that are produced?
So I think part of it is leadership. People have been here like myself who had some industrial experience, did patents as part of academics, and we encouraged others. Part of hiring new people, new faculty, and they get involved in this. Part is the Office of Patents and Licensing that go out there and teach how to do patents, and that it's not something that's not normally done in academics. Faculty, if you go get a Ph.D., you don't learn how to do a patent. You learn how to do research. But what we do here is we take them and we try to educate them that this is, and it's not just a patent. It could be trademarks. It could be all sorts of things. Could be, secrets. That they want to think about, and trade secrets. So the idea is there's other aspects of their research that's so important, and that we're also encouraged to do. Not just in medicine. We're very much a medical university, but you know what? In marine science, in chemistry, in physics. All these kinds of faculty are really pushed to really think about how does their research deal with real world events. And this goes into the College of the Arts. Some of the most patents in this country are what we call design patents. they're not just inventions and widgets, but they're design. And so our College of the Arts is now led by a dean that is very into design, and we have architecture in there and stuff. So all these things are very important, and it's about changing the culture and making patents part of the normal academic mission if they want to do that. And not just patents, but licensing, commercialization, starting up companies, helping with economic development.
What you just talked about, arts and design, and I'm really excited. I know Witness Drink goes back here somewhere, and we're going to be going to Mosey in a couple of weeks to talk about a STEAM zone that is being created, one of the first STEAM innovation zones in the nation. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I do know that we've got, I can't go much further without introducing the attorney in the room. We always have to talk about the attorney, and we have one, very smart. Her name is Valerie. She heads up the patent office. Can you kind of talk to us a bit more about what it is that you do and the patents that we have here at USF?
Absolutely. So, and I'm not just an attorney, I'm really the business person who's responsible for running the tech transfer office. I like to joke that I'm a business person who happens to have a law degree, and we use that to be as creative as we can in figuring out ways to move our technologies forward and find other ways to support spinning out companies. So what my office does is it works very closely with the faculty to engage them, and we have what we call feet on the street programs. So as Paul indicated, my staff, who are business development staff, are out there meeting with the faculty on a regular basis, following up on their research, following up on the ideas that they've submitted to us to make sure we are aware of the different innovations. And we do have a very different culture here. We have a very high disclosure rate per active faculty. So we do have a good sense of what the faculty are doing here. They are aware that this is an avenue and it is of importance. I think there is very heightened interest here from the faculty. So my group are the ones who are out on the front line, meeting with the faculty on a regular basis, bringing in a disclosure of what that new material is, doing an assessment of whether we can patent it, whether there truly is a market, what that value might be, then reaching out to the community, both within the state and outside, to find the right partner or spin a company around it.
Okay, so your office is responsible for the success that we've had with regard to being top 10 in the world.
You know,
I heard nation, but I'm going to say take it to the world.
It is the world.
Okay, I like that's bigger.
It is the world. It's funny because if you'd ever have to suffer through one of our educational seminars, one of the most important slides I think that's in there is the faculty are our most valuable asset. And remember, at the end of the day, without the cooperation of the faculty, without the interaction with them, you can't get a patent that makes any sense. You can't translate it to industry. So it really is a collaborative effort between my office, the administration supporting us in doing this, and the faculty.
Okay, let me ask you this question though. There's this discussion about, first off, there are lots of ideas, cool ideas out there. But an idea is nothing until it's, you can take it and turn it into a product.
Absolutely.
The first step towards that is the patent. But how do we go from idea patent to an actual product? And then I'm really interested in a product that we're making here in Tampa Bay and not someplace else.
Okay, so I get, and then I think I have a good, so an idea comes into our office. And so Kerriann's company is a great example. So there was about $1.3 million in federal funding that was supporting one of the chemistry labs where they were doing a lot of fundamental research and moving closer and closer towards translational research. I'll say Dr. Kerriann was a graduate student in that lab at the time. And so that lab disclosed that technology to us. We looked at many different possible commercialization pursuits for it. And so we did file patent applications on portions of that technology. And then normally what we do is we look for a company to license that technology. In this case, there was a company that licensed it for a very different purpose that did not translate to the marketplace. The technology came back, and Kerry will give you more about her background and how she ended up there. But she approached us saying, I want to come back. I want the technology I worked on, but here's what I actually want to do with it. And then she spun a company around it.
So Dr. Kerry, and what's your last name?
Greenlaugh.
Okay, Greenlaugh. But Dr. Greenlaugh, can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Sure. So as Valerie mentioned, I worked in the lab with Ed Turos, who's a co-founder in my company as well. As an organic chemist in my Ph.D. program, I was actually enticed to look at this technology that he had developed in terms of topical application, because my now husband, when we were dating in grad school, got a cut on his hand that, just a normal cut. We cleaned it, bandaged it up. Well, within a week, his hand swelled up like a balloon. And we learned he had a serious staph infection. He had to go into surgery immediately, and the doctors told him that he was days away from getting it amputated. And, I realized then that there's just nothing out there to actually protect your wounds. We did all the proper things, we took care of it, and it still got infected. And it's actually just right here, he's got a big old nasty scar from it. And it's just a place where a Band-Aid doesn't cut it. So when I was looking at this technology we had and this really neat drug delivery system, I found that it was very similar to the skin, the properties of the film that formed. And so a light just clicked and said, this is a perfect blend together. And so when I was in grad school, I actually focused my dissertation on using this technology as a drug delivery system as a topical product for application to the skin. And when I left USF and I went to work for a biotechnology, actually another spin out from USF, that's gone public, a very large company now that works on orthopedic devices. I always had that in my back burner, and I set up a lab in my garage and tinkered with the formula and, kept playing with it and seeing, what would the best solution would be and how to address, the best attributes for getting this as a commercial product, because I've always thought that it would make such a great product and it would really help people. I always used it, by myself at home for everything anyways. And the company ended up moving to Atlanta and unfortunately leaving us. And I'm a USF girl, and my husband works at Moffitt. He's a medical physicist there now. So we weren't leaving.
So the first thing that we've learned is that USF really does connect
Yes.
people.
It does.
Marriage. We're slow here. She got married to someone who. Okay.
Oh yeah. right in the.
Trying
grad
to tell
hallways.
a joke, guys, and it's not working.
Right in the grad hallway.
Really. So this is the product here. Oh, KeriCure. That is really cool.
That's my founder's fault. My board members, I threw out 10 different names. And
Okay,
my friend said KeriCure, and I was
I've
like,
got
no.
three kids. They are cutting themselves constantly.
Well, I've got samples for you.
Wow, pump
Here,
spray,
you
box
can have one to
germs.
take home.
Really, that is really neat. It looks because everything I give them, it looks like it's scary and they're screaming. And so this looks like really nice and simple.
Well, the beauty of this product is that it's water-based. So if you compare us to the other liquid bandages that are out there, they're all alcohol, acetone, which pouring alcohol into a wound, your kids are going to run screaming.
Yeah, they do.
It's not nice. So we're water-based. We actually have a natural product as well, but we're water-based, preservative-free, chemical-free, and basically ouch-free is what we like to say.
Oh, this is fantastic. That was at my big fat Greek wedding, the guy that runs around with a
the
spray
Windex.
bottle spraying the. I'm one of those guys. I'm always like, yeah.
It was Windex.
I think it is something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So this
Just
beats
put
the
some Windex
Windex
on
too.
it.
That is really cool. So see, look, we are the leader in innovation and technology right here. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
But what? Okay. Well, we're going to talk later about like the fact that they left. But the part of the thing is we're all Americans. We're glad that the products are being made here in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, I sought to manufacture locally, so we're fully manufactured here. We're actually packaged here as well by a company called McDonald Training Center, who hire people with disabilities.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so our products are actually packaged by people with disabilities, manufactured right here in Tampa. And we actually have our first sale in Tampa in USF at the Sweet Bay in the Morsani Center just yesterday. So we're
Awesome.
fully launched and commercial now.
Now,
and-
was USF Connect? I mean, you're a scientist.
Right.
We got scientists sitting here. We're going to talk to some more scientists. But did USF Connect help you take that idea and go from idea, patentable idea, to an actual product?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Being a chemist, you don't really get a business, mentality or any influence going through grad school here. And I was lucky enough to be part of one of the USF's really great programs called IGERT, which was a fellowship program funded by NSF that USF was able to get. And it really influenced entrepreneurship as well as making you go across borders and go to engineering classes and go to computer engineering and college of medicine classes. So I like to say that because of that, I got a very broad spectrum education when I was in grad school, where it's a lot of times you get pigeonholed into just chemistry classes. And I think because of that, I was able to learn a lot of different facets of healthcare, of commercialization and development, but also business, to where I don't think I would have been able to do this if I hadn't gotten that experience from USF. And then additionally, you know, my little chemist coming to Valerie and saying, hey, you know, I loved my technology. Could I maybe have that back? She was really the one that equipped me to go out there and get the funding for it, because that was my biggest challenge.
Right.
I had the vision for the product from the beginning, and I actually got the experience of taking products through the FDA in my former job. I was project manager and led the company's first FDA clearance for our product. So I had that side of it. I understood the regulatory side, but in terms of the business aspect and getting funding and figuring out our game plan in terms of commercialization, and then she also hooked me up with local marketing and sales teams that really helped me key into the correct demographics that we want to be targeting, how to really market this product and sell it locally, as well as up in, you know, throughout the state.
That's huge. Dr. Sanberg, I mean, when we talk about Stanford University and the greatness of that university and how they take people with cool ideas, are really smart, and then do what we see here. Help them not just come up with the idea, patent it, but also get the financing. I mean,
it's important, and it's the step that's missing at a lot of universities, and it's one that we focused on here thanks to, you know, we have what people don't understand is, again, we have a center for life science entrepreneurship here that's ranked in the top 10 of the country. And it is a great center. They get a master's of entrepreneurship if they want. We have a lot of students that go through that. Those students will come and work as interns in the company. MBA students here will work as interns in companies of startups and help with strategic plans, strategic marketing, business plans, to help them get going, help them in finding funding. If I can just add one thing, Commissioner Sharpe.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's important to think about when you talk about helping our economy here and doing this, what Kerry said, she said one thing, and that was that it started by a federal grant. It started by a federal grant of $1.3 million or so. And there's two things about that. One is it's federal dollars to do real research that's been peer-reviewed, been gone through, they don't fund much, anymore. And so you have to get to a certain level in order to get that kind of funding, which helps a lot. The other is that when you really think about economic development, and a lot of people don't understand this, when you become a research university and you bring in those federal dollars, they're dollars from out of state. That's $200 million coming in to this university, for example, and Moffitt and those places, that comes in from out of state, creates employment, creates all things. It's not recycled dollars within the state of Florida or Hillsborough County. This is new dollars coming in. Just like when we do industry contracts with people from outside the state, companies, those are new dollars. So they really help in economic development, and now, as you can see with Kerry's example, they help in pushing that and to create sustained economic development with products and jobs. So I think it's something that people don't understand when they see, oh yeah, USF got another grant. That other grant can really lead to some significant things for us.
Well, part of what we're trying to do with this whole effort here, the EDI2, hashtag EDI2 if you want to find us and follow us, is to tell that story and to explain it. I did say incorrectly that we're all Americans. We're not all Americans. Actually, we got a student from Moldova who are doing incredible things at the School of Sustainability, and she's a top 10 tennis player, which is actually kind of neat. You can't see her, but one day you will. We also have some individuals here from London.
England, north of England, Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, yes. You see, Sharpe, we're actually Welsh.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know what that means, but we are Welsh.
You're from Wales.
Wales, well, Greece. You can see the Greek side, but I got Greek and I got Welsh in me. But anyway, so tell us about yourself and why you're here at USF.
Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity.
We're honored.
Let me step back. Actually, back in the mid '90s, I got my Ph.D. from the University of Bradford, and I invented a way of particle engineering using supercritical fluid. And as a result of my PhD, we set up a spin-out company from the University of Bradford. 5 years down the line, we sold it for $200 million and a change. And I became a consultant and moved on since. became a consultant of Thar Pharmaceuticals. It was Thar Technology at the beginning. Then Thar Pharmaceuticals is a spin-out, and moved from England to here in order to supervise the research that we are currently doing. Our lead compound at the moment is oral Zometa. Zometa is a bone mets cancer drug. What it does that once you got the cancer metastasized into your bones, it becomes a very difficult situation, and you cannot even stand up in certain cases. It's very painful because the calcium is leached out of your bones, and it's a really not a nice situation to be in. So what we did, we looked into the molecule of Zometa, and we molecularly designed another molecule, which is in this case an amino acid. We married them together to make a completely new molecule. And that is the beauty. Again, we are coming to the patenting issue. You have a patent that runs out in 2030. So this is a composition of matter patent, which is very difficult to get around. In the pharmaceutical industry, you can have like formulation patent, which is easy always to get around. When it comes to composition of matter patent, it's really difficult to get around it. So even if we make it to the market, then the generics will not be competing with us, because the generic will be doing the IV, they will not doing the oral. So what we managed with this new molecule and transform the IV Zometa, which is you have to sit in a clinic or a hospital for 20 minutes to get the needle stuck in your vein to get the drug. In this case, we managed to make it into an oral, and we currently are in phase 1 clinical trials. It really has been very interesting watching this for the last few years, and I really do thank very much the USF and thank the university and Hillsborough County for providing the support. I mean, in this case, it's not like a financial support, but providing us with the really expensive equipment, something like the X-ray diffractions, the NMR, the D.Sc, mass spec, and all FTIR. I mean, these are really expensive equipments to buy, and for a startup company, it's a burden. So they provide us, like, if you wish, in-kind kind of support, which really helped us for two things. First of all, to interrogate that the molecule we make is brand new, it's new, it's not something, i.e. the chemical reaction has really worked. And in this case, it's a hydrogen bonding interaction. And the second thing, we make sure that we are making this molecule consistently time after time after time. Without this equipment, it's very difficult to see, because all you see is a white powder. You know, it's nothing. Without these sophisticated equipment, you cannot interrogate it. Anyway, so I moved from England 3 years ago here in order to supervise it, and it's been really joyful experience for me. And this also gives me something to look back on. Back in England, once we set up that company and we sold it, and the university got quite a bit of money, so they set up 2 centers. It's the Institute of Pharmaceutical Innovations and Institute of Cancer Therapeutics, because they realized that they need, like, all these wonderful ideas at the universities. They need a launching pad, so they made these 2 centers as a launching pad for these little ideas in order to monetize them. And as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Is they have been in business for the last 10 years, which is, and you guys are doing something very similar, and really appreciate that very much.
That's really it's complicated, and I think that's why USF Connect seems to be so special. You can take things which us politicians have a difficult time grasping and holding on to, but take it from, again, the idea stage to something that will actually save lives and relieve a lot of pain and suffering, and I'm glad that you're doing it here.
And also in our case, like, you know, you are eliminating the cost of administration tremendously. I mean, the figures that we've been doing some market research up to $2,000 per patient per year, and imagine how many cancer sufferers that on these medications. So I mean, it's also, which is not included in the equation, is when you stick a needle in your arm, for example, you get possible infection, as we saw with, because you are puncturing the skin. Another thing is after several times to puncture the skin will not heal, and you
Right.
have a scar. There's a potential of damaging the veins if the injection, because this is really a powerful drug, if the injection was not made correctly into the vein, you could have tissue necrosis around the. I mean, there's so many different things that is not being included in this equation here.
Well, what's exciting is at Tampa Bay. In fact, we just had a conference that was hosted by the Economic Development Corporation and a number of other local entities, and talked about how we hope to become the center for medical transformation and disruptive medical transformation. That's with the EDI2. Part of what EDI2 wants to be involved in, but it's the MetaFuture 2023. And I would encourage you to go online, look at MetaFuture 2023. We already have the date for June of 2014. They're going to have it at the Tampa Convention Center. And we would like to have companies like yours and others here to talk about some of the disruptive things that you're doing. And I know we have another business person here. Could you introduce yourself and let us know who you are?
Suzanne Schwitalla. My company is Ability Worldwide, and we are a veteran-owned small business.
Veterans.
I'm the veteran. I was in the Army.
Oh.
And my
Go
whole
Navy.
Go Air Force.
Sorry. I had to say that. I'm Navy. If I didn't say it, I'd get in trouble.
And all my life, I've been a problem solver. I've always looked to say, well, here's a situation. How can we make it better, faster, cheaper? So after I left the military, I worked for several defense contractors, big ones and little ones. And finally, it got to a point where a lot of my colleagues were saying to me, Suzanne, I really wish you could be available to help us solve problem X, Y, or Z. So I started my own business about 3 years ago, and I do logistics consulting with emphasis on logistics technologies. So for example, supply chain. The military has to move billions of dollars worth of equipment and materials to many places around the world. So what are the items that have to be moved, and how do you move them? And what I do is I helped organizations in the government and their major contractors to figure out what's a better way to do that. And so one of the areas that I'm actually diving into, because by education I'm actually a scientist.
Okay.
My undergraduate is chemistry. I've studied.
Where did you study?
I studied at the University of Pennsylvania undergraduate, and I studied material science at the University of Minnesota.
Wow.
At the Ph.D. level, and I also have my MBA from Georgetown University. So, and I actually ended up here at USF because of my daughter. My daughter, a couple years ago, was graduating. She wants to be a doctor, and she did a very careful review of all the pre-med programs in the country, and she came to me and she says, Mom, I like USF, believe it or not. And so
Dr. Klasko like that. That is fabulous.
And we were living in Maryland, so my husband said, he said, maybe we should just move to Florida. And and
Wow.
he got a job transfer, and so I looked into what are the opportunities for my relocating my business. And I came across the USF Connect organization. And so I contacted Tracy, the director, Tracy Schwartz. And one of the interesting things about USF is that they have a very rigorous screening program, because they are, and which was impressive to me, because I knew that if they have a rigorous screening program for accepting small businesses, they were dead serious. They wanted you to succeed, and they wanted you to be absolutely serious about going forward with a business plan and a business program. Luckily, I met all of their 12 criteria, and so I was accepted about a year ago. And so one of the areas that I'm actually looking into is battery technologies.
Oh.
Soldiers have to carry a lot of electronic equipment, and everything needs a battery. And how do you ask a young man to carry 100 pounds of equipment and all the batteries that are needed for that? So I'm partnering with other battery research organizations, and we're actually looking into innovation and applications for how to provide the military with lighter weight and longer lifespan, more innovative battery solutions.
That is really cool. I mean, the Army does hire sharp people, so it's cool that so does the.
Says the Navy.
Yeah, we have
Literally.
But literally, yes. But I'm impressed that you're able to take your skills that you developed while in the service, and now you're employing them here. And again, USF Connect.
It was just perfect because, and they also, when you start up a small business, and I literally started on my dining room table, I needed an office, I needed branding, I needed a logo, I needed a place where I could network and meet people, infrastructure. That's really, really hard to find. And USF, it just sort of brings it all together for you. They help you. They help me get a logo, get my branding going. They're helping me with networking, and they give you encouragement, so you're not out there all alone. You actually feel like you have a family here, where you're not going by yourself.
I want Ken and Joy, who are the regulars, who are always here helping me, so I don't embarrass myself too much, talk to our guests. But the key is, our focus and my focus, the focus of this effort here, EDI2, is to make Tampa Bay really the center for entrepreneurialism. And so that people with really neat ideas don't feel like they have to go someplace else, but they can do it right here. And I've been asking Ken and Joy, why is it that, in fact they would, oftentimes Ken's from Seattle, spent a lot of time in Seattle. Joy travels all over the world, funds companies all over the world. I'm like, well, why aren't we doing more of it here? And that kind of was the genesis of this, which was, let's talk to people who are doing things here, but let's also find ways that we can do more of it here. And I want to say, Joy, first off, thank you for being here, and then Joy and Ken, but would you both kind of like jump in here and help us out?
Yeah, so I think, as I always say, we do have a lot of technology here, and we have a lot of tech entrepreneurs. Everything just kind of has the tendency to fly under the radar. People just don't know. People outside of the community, people who aren't involved in the startup community, right? Even organizations here in the technical area that don't work with the startups, they don't really know what exists here. I think USF has done a really good job. I did actually know that you were in the top 10. I've seen a lot of cool stuff come out of here. There's someone after, which I actually should introduce you to, who's a local business who could help you with what you're looking to do with the batteries. I have a question, actually. So one of the things I think the university has done a really great job of spinning things out of the university, right? And I think that, you've helped enable students, obviously, based on the things that are here. How would be the best way for people outside of the university who want to work with the tech transfer office to do that? Should they come to you? How do they do that? I think that would be really good information for people in the community to have, because I've done that before with other universities, so it'd be interesting to see how you guys actually do that with the outside world.
So we do work very closely with the outside community, because that is very much where the licenses come from. It comes from our community and then the startups that we spin out. So very much approaching my office directly. I have 5 business development people in varying areas that manage portions of the portfolio. So that would be the direct person you would be interacting with. So if you're in the immunology space, I would introduce them to Terry Hunter, who's a Ph.D., who's taken drugs through translational phase 2, who works with a lot of industry, and she would work directly with them. So one of the business development people in my office would work directly with that company. So come on down. We would love to license something or work with you to build a company.
Because I do think that's one of the areas here locally that we don't do as good a job of. Like I work with MIT on their EDP program and things like that, so I actually go up and help facilitate that. I'm a judge at their venture conference and things on a regular basis, and they do a really good job of tech transfer. And I think it's just because it's so open, right? Everybody knows that MIT has a big tech transfer office. I mean, they just happen to know. And I think part of what we need to do is raise the awareness of what we actually do have here, and that would facilitate more involvement and more people from the outside coming here versus the other way around.
And tech transfer is much bigger than just what the tech licensing office
Absolutely.
does. And I think that's kind of the focus of USF Connect. There are many ways that this university is interacting with all sorts of industry. And so, beyond just tech transfer, connecting directly to the USF Connect program is another way.
Yeah, let me add to that, because you brought a good point up with what you're doing. And one of the things that she talked about really was that we do screen here. We do want them to succeed. I mean, the whole point is them to succeed and them to stay in Tampa Bay when they leave here. And so we have a council of professionals that's right now led by the previous dean of St. Pete College Business School. Okay, he's retired and he's helping us. And we have professionals in the community that are on this kind of committee, this council, and they go and they talk to the companies. And they look at their plans and they try to help. So we're always looking for good volunteers, such as yourself,
Okay.
to come and to help these companies and to help the students and the faculty move forward. We can't do it all ourselves. We're not experts in everything by any means. And so that's another way for the community to get involved with us.
We'd love to do that.
Ken?
I just wanted to mention one of the reasons I ended up in Seattle was because of University of Washington's tech transfer program. I went to work for a software company. I was in Texas. I was working for Compaq. I went to a software startup in Seattle that had been spun out of the University of Washington, along with the professor that had created the initial technology as the temporary CEO. And what I found up there is in the culture of Seattle, they're not very shy about talking about ideas. They're not very shy about their culture. They wear it out there every single day. And moving to Tampa, I found that we're too polite in our tech culture here. We're too shy in our tech culture, and people don't talk about ideas. They don't talk about it for a number of different reasons. They don't know who to talk to, which is inexcusable these days because we have a lot of people out there to talk to, or they're afraid to talk about it. And that was one of the things that I encountered when I first opened the program for doing co-working down in Ybor, is people didn't want to interact with other people. They didn't want to talk about ideas. They were afraid that they were going to be stolen. And it just led to a feeling that there weren't enough people here in the community to talk to. And I think we've kind of bridged that gap a little bit, but I still run into that reluctance of people to talk about ideas, to meet with other people. We have no lack of formal mentoring programs. But formal mentoring programs aren't always the right thing for people that are just trying to vet ideas or trying to meet potential co-founders or just people to bounce ideas with. And that's one of the cultural things that is evolving in Tampa, but we're not there yet. So the University of Washington was very aggressive about that. The culture in Tampa was very aggressive about that. You could walk into any bar or any coffee shop and run into people who are not shy about giving you feedback. And as we transition from being that shy, off the radar, as Joy put it, culture, to one where people will give you positive feedback, not just be cheerleaders, but really help you with ideas, I think we'll see more innovative ideas get turned into products here, because we really need that transfer of ideas into products. Because if we don't turn it into a product, we don't get any ROI. Whether it's a patent here or just an idea in someone's garage, it needs to turn into a product before you can really get any type of return on that investment. And that helps grow the culture.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. I would agree. I think having been in different places myself, and that we're pushing here. And it's funny when you said that, because I was invited in July. I'm going up to Boston University that puts on this thing called Tech, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And the drugs by pharmaceutical industry, not other types of drugs. But their idea is, again, their idea is really to have this. They get 500 or 1,000 people that from the Boston community get in together and talk about these things and honoring stuff. And that's the kinds of things we need. I'm so excited about this show. I mean, I didn't know much about it, and it's a great thing to have here to really get our information out. And there's one other point before I forget that I think is really important to know about USF that a lot of people don't know. And that is, again, what you said, and you're a veteran, is that we are fourth in the nation for being a military veteran-friendly university. Fourth out of 4,000 colleges and universities, because this is not just universities, it's colleges too. And we're the only medical school that has 2 VA hospitals affiliated with it, and one's the busiest and one's the 4th busiest hospital. We have over 2,100 veteran students that's growing and growing and growing. And we want to encourage the veterans here to get involved in technology transfer, to get involved in different industries. And a lot of the veterans actually can get clearances. So we can get them now into more cybersecurity things and things like this, because we now have students that are of that caliber and of that ilk. And so that's a really important part of us, is of really pushing this rehabilitation aspects of veterans getting jobs, of also them creating jobs and them creating companies. So that's become a major push for us here at USF. And so thank you.
Tech, drugs, and rock and roll?
Yeah.
I like that. I was playing this morning. I was trying to get my kids up, and my daughter, she's in middle school, didn't want to get up, so I was cranking Elvis Costello, Pump It Up, to the house. I'm like, Dad, what is that? And I'm like, it's good rock and roll music.
We could do one here.
I like it.
We could do one here.
I like that. I think we should do that. I think, listen, I know we got a lot. We could talk forever, but our time is running short. What I think is cool, and I think Ken, you talked about this, which is that we really are kind of losing our shyness. and the culture is changing. And what is so cool about USF is that, and I like bull country, you can come here and actually literally run with the bulls. I see them out there physically running, but really the ideas that are coming from USF are going to transform Tampa Bay. I mean, USF is driving research and innovation and making things happen. And for all those folks who think you got to go to a Seattle or someplace else, not that you can't, but the fact is we got better weather. We got great weather. we got beautiful. We got lots of fun things to do, and we used to ride that for a long time. And people thought, well, you go here to enjoy those things, but then you go to other places to take your idea and make it into a product. USF is driving innovation and taking cool ideas, making sure that we can patent them, giving them the assistance they need. We're going to be bringing people together and talking about how we can fund you so that you can make your product right here in Tampa Bay. So I want to thank everybody for being here. We've had a really cool group. This is a lot of fun. And I'm going to be joining. I want to come to that conference. I don't think I can go, but we'll have one here. That sounds like a great time. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.